Hi. So far we've talked about why I want to build a company, why we're making videos about it, and now we're going to kind of dive in and do an overview of where the company is now, since we didn't start this right at the beginning, and sort of summarize everything so far and our thinking right now, and then we'll in subsequent videos dive into some of the details of some of these things, and I'll follow up on some of the previous videos that I promised I would make for you in other videos. So I think those so far are transparency. I was going to talk about why we want to fix web development, what's broken about it, in my opinion, and sort of go over those specific things that we want to solve as a team, and that'll become our company, our sort of essence of our company. It'll be the collection of these solutions. Okay, so I would say that Countable, the company, although it was incorporated in 2008, really became a company and not just a shelf corporation early this year, when I embraced the idea of scaling beyond myself, about putting the name and brand of the company first, rather than introducing myself and my past accomplishments, which is challenging because the company itself doesn't really have any accomplishments outside of mine, myself having been a freelancer previously. So, but I think that we really committed this spring. I'd been working with some outsourced workers from India, and I had a sort of partner slash assistant here in Vancouver, and another employee here in Vancouver. So there were 5 of us, and at that point, the other person that was working with me closely left. I think because the structure was still basically the old structure of me having assistants and being the consultant, which sucks because I think it's not motivating for anyone else on the team. They get handed anything I don't want to do by necessity, and the kind of outsourced guys considered the work to be very commoditized, and they would just kind of try and execute it. They did okay, but we didn't have a connection as a team, I think, and we didn't have the same. I don't think we could provide the same level of service to our clients because there wasn't this sense of collaboration that I want to foster. So maybe I'll articulate this better later because I don't feel like I'm coming across fully. But regardless, at this point, when this really great person that was working for us left, and due to sort of work quality and communication problems, I had to let go of the 2 outsourced workers. That left just me and one guy in Vancouver who was a fresh grad. So there were 2 of us, and we needed to hire, to really scale and have enough people to do all of our work and be able to grow. We needed to hire another 7 people based on my thinking at the time, and we really dug into why how we could scale beyond me and be really a team, build a team rather than present me as the consultant. So one thing that we did was create an open source operations manual. I think having an operations manual in the first place is important, or something that fills that role. At least in our experience, you want to write down the things that are the way that you do things that are different from others. That's what makes you who you are. Your processes. I fought a lot against the idea of processes previously, and have been very wary of them, because processes can be amazing if they're right, and if they're outdated, they no longer have really a reason, then they just create overhead, and they turn people into automatons who think they're doing their job by following some written down process without thinking about the bigger picture. So this was really tricky, and this was one of the first really big challenges I felt like I was facing, in understanding how can I have it both ways. How can I have a company and still, which kind of necessitates having some processes. And one thing that I read that was really helpful for this was a book called The E-Myth, which many of you may be familiar with, and I read dozens of books to try and wrap my head around best practices and starting points, and what I liked and didn't like about what other people were doing. And one thing that resonated with me in the E-Myth was that a business is a game, because I like games, and they're easy to understand conceptually, and they have rules, and you can't have a game without rules, otherwise it's just chaos. And the rules of the game don't stifle creativity, I don't think. I think they enhance creativity by creating a framework from within which you can be creative. So that's the goal of processes at Countable. We want to have processes that actually remove other problems out of your way, that automate by convention things that you'd be wasting your time on, like deciding on a particular framework, or countless other little decisions that don't really matter, but it feels like you need to evaluate continuously. These are the types of things that we want processes for. Also, for onboarding new people into working the way that we do, typically we'll try to borrow really the most common industry standard conventions for tools and processes, like Git, and then within Git flow, which is a branching convention. And what we'll typically do is pare down the kind of detailed version of the process to the things that really matter to us, that we can justify, and have that kind of skeleton as our process, and try and keep things as simple as possible, because that way we minimize the cost of the process, which is all the steps that need to be followed, and any needless step that doesn't provide value is stripped out. So this is kind of some of our thinking so far. There's obviously a lot of evolution to still happen with this, but we've kind of documented all these things in our open source operations manual, so you can have a look if you'd like, and we welcome any feedback on those things. Some pages are a little more draft stage and aren't fully thought out, and some are a lot more mature where we've iterated on them. So I look forward to your feedback if you check that out. I guess that wraps it up for today. We're getting to the 9-minute mark, which is a long time to talk to a camera. So talk to you later.